All right. What is up, everybody? This is Keith Jameson. Go to Gator Guy 231 across the Sorare industry. Hoop staying. Industry is staying.
It is an industry.
Tilt City fame. Guy that took a sleep aid and is needing the coffee to hit hard right now. What's up?
Look at these eyes. Look at these.
Hey, man. I'm here to make it happen. I mean, if you need me to send the 4-year-old over to you or the 5-month-old to really wake you up, I got you covered.
That might be child endangerment at this point. I don't know.
The 4-year-old could use it. It might not be the worst thing for him. So I want to start with a really, really important question this morning.
Yes.
What's your pumpkin opinion?
Are you talking like pumpkin spice? Are you talking about jack-o'-lanterns?
Pumpkin. I guess I'm more talking about the food version. You know, we're at that time of year. You got the pumpkin creamer, the pumpkin spice, the pumpkin lattes, the pumpkin pies. Where are we at in pumpkin?
So, I don't love pumpkin pie.
Okay.
I don't love pumpkin spice stuff, even though it has its place. I'm a pumpkin spice centrist. As the TikTok trend says. I'm very much in the middle. I don't hate it. I hate the dialogue. Okay. I hate the amount that we talk about it, but that's kind of how I feel about everything.
Well, great thing that I started up, you know that.
Jack-o'-lanterns are good though. Also, okay, pumpkin does wonders for your dog's stomach if they're.
Oh, that's true. I actually have heard this.
Yes.
I have heard this. Well,
so
I'm sitting here.
Pumpkin.
I am sitting here with the. I guess I fall into the fat. I'm sitting here with the pumpkin spice creamer in the coffee. You know, it's that time of year.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'm easily impressionable. Oop.
That's fine. Hey,
cool.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Hey, I'm easily impressionable when it comes to Dutch goalkeepers. So.
Oh my gosh! So the my wife, by the way, I'm signaling to her that she accidentally took my AirPod today during her run. So let me grab that. She's like, "No, she did. You did."
This is magic of production.
Okay, well we'll get it done because now I'm hearing her music in the other ear. So anyhow,
how is it?
The music?
Yeah.
Not my cup of tea, but I'm also really weird. I prefer podcasts to music, so.
Well, yeah, you are a dork. We are dorks.
There you go. That's how it works. So, now that I got distracted, did you ask me a question or did you want me to start our topic?
No, I said pumpkin.
Oh, the Dutch goalkeeper. The Dutch goalkeeper.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on. Okay.
That too.
So I woke Coop up in his slumber with the little news that the goalkeeper he bought for specialists this week already got benched before he got to use them.
The guy.
Is there anything worse than a goalie?
No, not really.
What's the goalie equivalent in baseball? Or is it relief pitcher? Probably relief pitcher. That's not Spencer Strider. You don't have Strider.
It's either a relief pitcher who doesn't pitch in a game week or a starting pitcher that you have going. And ends up getting pushed or bumped to the next game week, even though they were scheduled to start.
Okay. That makes sense. That would suck.
So, yeah. Go ahead. I was going to say...
No, I was just going to say, I think that actually probably is the proper equivalent, is a guy that you set up, you probably as your closer, and they're, favored the whole series. And they get wrecked, and he got no appearances. I feel like that has to be the equivalent of goalie.
Yeah. I don't know. It's definitely not a 1-to-1 comparison. No. But it's equally as frustrating. I think.
Hold on, I already have it in mind. What do you think the NBA comparison is? It came to me so quick.
Load management.
It's too easy.
It's got to be load management.
Does it? Or could it be something even easier?
I can't think anything else.
Has to be Anthony Davis. Has to be Anthony Davis because you just know what's happening.
He's walking load management.
Exactly. They're not even managing him. It's just he's trying to manage his body, like to not just fall apart on him.
Managing whatever he's got going on at the time.
Oh, poor. Did you see the little thing this morning? I woke up to it. I guess in the preseason game, he made some news because he just got a massive hole in his pants right where it counts.
What is it with him? What is his luck?
I don't know. It's unbelievable. I'll tell you this, and we'll veer back on course now that I took us down the pumpkin rabbit hole. But I'm super pumped for NBA whenever this is. When's the event? It's in is it the 18th? I don't know.
Yeah,
it's coming up. Jay Williams.
Yes.
I thought it was super cool that they had Jay Williams hosting it. That was a great start. So really hoping that we get dropped before the season starts. I'm getting kind of worried.
Yeah, I'm not exactly planning on it at this point. When does the season actually starts? The 19th,
Next
right?
week.
Yeah, they gotta.
I'm surprised. I thought there was enough lead in.
Yeah. I guess you can't do the event and then just be like, all right, head on over, get your commons, and then play this week.
The event has to be here's when it's releasing, but I'll just let me say my piece. And I want to see if you agree, but I'd much rather them have it figured out than just rush. I'm assuming everybody that's like, oh, Sorare is such a joke business. Like, what are they doing? It's like, no, they understand how much money is at stake right now, and there's a really good reason that it's being delayed or it hasn't launched. I mean, they're sitting there realizing how much money is about to be made, and I'm assuming they just want to make sure that it's buttoned up.
Yeah, I'm sure. But I didn't feel like MLB was exactly buttoned up. But it's a much.
But maybe it's learning.
Much different.
Maybe it's learning from.
Yeah, absolutely. It's much different. I mean, I think they knew what their audience was going to sort of look like for MLB, and I think they know what their audience is going to look like for NBA, and they're vastly different. So that's fine. Take your time.
I think the reality too is if NBA was launched with like MLB with no player pages, with very little ways to trade, to try and think of like other problems with MLB, but it was like no player pages, no trades, so just very limited. Like you're buying from no way to sell too. I think if you did it on the NBA side, you run the risk of getting this huge influx of new users and it just falling in deaf ears.
Yeah, and having all of those users, I mean, this kind of goes without saying, but having all of those new users show up, and if it's a bad experience, then
right, they're gone.
Yeah, you lost them all. So
you're like, man, Top Shot actually is better than this.
I doubt it.
So anyhow, let's get to the topic episode. So this is the Average Joe Show. We've got Joe Willis fame, Joe Ryan fame on the cover. And no, it's not just about Joe's, although it would be hysterical if we actually did a show just about Joe's.
Joe's only.
There's a surprising amount. I asked you name of Joe. You start dropping Joe Musgrove, Joey Gallo. We have to decide where the line on Joe's is. Can we add the Y? Is Joseph considered Joe? Like, it gets hairy there. Anyhow,
yes.
the topic. I haven't really even shared this with you. I told you yesterday I had an idea in mind, and it came from a conversation I was having with what I feel like is a majority of the Sorare user base, which is the grinder, right? The grinder, and when I say the grinder, the player that, all right, I've made my initial investment in Sorare. I've put in 1 ETH, 2 ETH, 0.5 ETH, 0.1 ETH, whatever that amount is. I put in my amount that I'm comfortable staking, investing, whatever word you want to use, and now I need to take that and start reaching my goals. And I don't know anything about like where he started. I think he's at like a 8 to 10, 10 to 12 ETH type of gallery. So not like abnormally large and not small by any means anyways. And he is like, I need to start. We're gonna talk football, but then I want to move this into baseball. But I want to start. It's MLS offseason, no, American, right? MLS offseason. I want to buy some players that might be down, and his words to me. And this is where I wanted to go with this topic was. I want to get some guys that are really good threshold and solid performers, and I went, whoa. I think that's a mistake. If we're doing this, we need to not focus on just these guys that can get by and just get us threshold. As this platform, as Sorare keeps going forward, I think the average Joe, so when I think average Joe, your grinder, like your grinder type of player, your guy that's going to get in football world 50s and 60s, you're on the baseball world, maybe he's only hitting 7 or 8 homers. I think that type of player is going to get harder and harder to win with. And that what we need to do is find those type of guys that have a similar type of floor or baseline expectation, but give us the huge spikes that can get us the weeks that they get in football, 90 to 100, that can get you an 80-point game week. That was a long bit from me. Hoop, digest, go. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think it's certainly the case in football. I'm finding it harder and harder to win. I mean, regardless, but I'm finding it harder and harder to win without having the big guns, period. Even my interstack, I had a nice little week, and then obviously keeper stuff happened. But even with them, like, you think Inter, like, not necessarily, Bayern or I don't want to say Ajax at this point, but, old Ajax, the real heavy hitters where, you got to spend a pretty penny even to put together a limited team. You think Inter's like kind of in that mix or, a tier down. And I mean, even then, everything's got to go right. And unless you're just pushing for thresholds, then yeah, it doesn't feel like the average Joe is going to win you much. On the baseball side, I have a lot of those guys. I mean, that's kind of what I've made my team out of, other than some of my pitching. But I'm winning rewards, but I'm not really coming close to podiums. Even when Bo Bichette hit 3 home runs and I was, he had a 114 or whatever. The rest of my guys were just kind of middling, and, I got a nice T2 out of it, but didn't really head to the podium. I think it is way more viable to win with a couple of average Joes in baseball, and that's
Right.
kind of why I'm drawn to it, and kind of brought that up quite a bit. But I'm actually surprised by how hard it's been to win without, like a Mookie Betts or a Trey Turner, et cetera, Aaron Judge. I thought it would be a little easier, and granted, the sample size of game weeks isn't huge, and other people have won without those guys, but I just haven't been able to win without those sorts of guys. Like Christopher Morel or whatever it is from the Cubs. Honest to God, I didn't know who he was until Sorare, and I think he won the first game week. It was a common game week, but like he was the guy. So it can be done there, whereas I don't know that it can be in football. I think there's just too many players, too much exposure to try and cover to be able to win with those sorts of guys. Yes, you did have them.
So I think I kind of almost want a departure football from this real quick because I think it is there's no disagreement between the two of us that, like, in football, you need to use your average Joes and try to get a Joe to be a Joshua Kimmich, right? Like, the goal should be, all right, how can Joes eventually, make my goal, whether it's grinding ETH to that point or, a random ass Joe went crazy week that got me there. But, like, you have to, in football, build this, like, I think you have to have a specific plan of here's where my eat's going to go. Here's my next move. Boom, locked in. All right, here's my next move. Boom, locked in. And it's always got to be progressing towards more quality in the gallery. I really want to talk about this with baseball, and then maybe even take a diversion into NBA, even though we'll be speculating. I find that really interesting what you said, that, it hasn't yielded the top end. Do you think that it didn't yield the top, and I mean by top end outcome, like the podium outcomes, the top 1% outcomes, because
Right.
in those lower scarcities, mean like limited, so I guess that's higher scarcities. I don't know which way to go the pendulum there, but because, like, all right, your Boba Fett week,
Yeah.
there's how many other Boba Fett's, and they're all in play, right? 100, because between rare pro and rare at that time, you could use the limiteds, correct?
Yes.
So, I mean, and then you have rare Boba Fett. So you probably have, what, 300 or 400 Boba Fett's in play, even at that time of season, or like 250 maybe?
I'm interested in to know how many rares there actually were at that point, and I'm going back and looking. Boy, some of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, I'm speculating. I don't have that data. Obviously, you're looking at it, but that would be my thought, because you get your top 1% Boba Fett outcome, who is not an average Joe, by the way. So we're probably
No.
using the wrong topic here. We're probably using the wrong example, but it's fine. Joe, Bo, it's cool. It's
Average bows.
but at least we're rhyming. But I was actually, it's funny. Sorry, I'm gonna detour again. But I was actually just talking to Sean, PSU fans, about this yesterday. In regards to, I mean, the Andrews wrecked him enough. We can bring Tuggy into this conversation, but
His Padres just won, so he's all right.
he's okay. All right, he can take it this morning. So long story short, in one of the chats that we're in, Tuggy and Sean made this bet. Actually, you know what, Alex? I didn't realize this is actually the perfect topic for this. Tuggy and Sean make this bet. I hope it's okay. I'm saying this in public because we only have. Are we up to 8 users yet? Eight listeners.
Hey, we
Maybe
had
10?
we had like 50 for the Bobby Abreu.
I mean, you
episode.
upgraded to the cool pod studio that people can see my refrigerator in the background.
That's what the people wanted.
That's what the people want. I told you I got to get some, like, man, I got to order those Sorare magnets and just make this a whole Teddy Tuma.
There you go, a shrine.
Alex, he just re-signed. I was so excited.
Ooh,
2025,
nice.
Teddy Tuma, the legend, continues. But, okay, back to the vet. Sean, Tuggy. Tuggy brings in this William Carvalho, Real Betis fame, Portugal fame, super rare. And he's pretty pumped about it. And I don't remember exactly how it gets brought up, but essentially Sean is like, dude, that's not going to do it. Like, it's going to go into like a gas 3, so like a rare pro competition. He's like, you're not going to get the upside from that card. It's just not going to do it. And it ended up becoming this bet that Tuggy had like 8 weeks to win a reward with this William Carvalho card. It's not come close. But William Carvalho is actually the perfect example of an average Joe. Can I share screen on this new system or not really? Share. Hold on. I'm sorry. This is our first time recording on this new system. Let me see if I can pull it up. I think I can. All right, let's see if it works. I don't know if I've told the program's trustworthy enough. Maybe. I think maybe. Sorry. This is like nothing came up, did it? It's fine. I'll just say what I. Is anything coming up or no? Don't think that.
I don't see anything.
It's cool. So William Carvalho's scores, okay, when Tuggy bought him, it was 62, 43, 62, 42, 57, 79, got Tuggy juices flowing, 74, okay, and then, in typical Sorare fashion, just strap on, 26, 43, 35, 47, 32, 30, 39. So the bet has not up there. It's trying to. All right, let me just kill this. Let's undo that. Your screen. Okay, you got it working. So yeah, you
Yes.
can see those two top greens are right after Tuggy Bot, and then the curse of Sorare. Sometimes life comes fast. So needless to say, the bet has not gone too well. But the rationale for why Sean said what he did was that there's just no upside, right? We see the limited amount of that dark green there. Some light greens and mostly yellows. And the point was, when you get into these upper divisions where there's a lot of elite cards playing, it's really hard to just get by. And my biggest concern, like where I was even thinking this, one of my biggest fears in Sorare, as my gallery keeps advancing, is that I have a week that all my really good cards blow up, and I had an injury or I had something happen, and I had to put an average card with them, and the average card just kills things. Like, to me, and I don't know if you've had that in the baseball world, but to me, that is like the stone worst will ruin my weekend if, like, for me, my best card in my gallery, my two best cards are Deuce Tadic rare, Teddy Tuma super rare. They both bang out 100s, and I had to play Joe Willis. That's such a bad example because he's a goalie. It'll be fine. It's whatever. But I had to play Joe with them because of whatever. He does a 40, and all the upside's gone. And I think that was like Sean's point with Huggy is like, if you're really wanting to do well in this Rare Pro division, you got to shoot your sights a little bit higher than that. You know, that's not where you want to put your funds, even if you're just trying to park it. Let's try to shoot for a little bit more upside. Let's shoot for somebody that's going to give us a shot at the 90s. And I agree completely with that point.
Yeah, it absolutely makes sense on the football side. I think I normally have the opposite situation on the baseball side. Looking at it just for this week, let me pull it up. Like, my average Joes are the ones who are actually scoring, and then my Justin Verlanders, Nick Castellanos 25 points,
Justin Verlander.
Cal Quantrill 16 points, J.P. Crawford homered in game one. He's got 17 points. Justin Verlander with a goose egg, 4 innings pitched, 3 strikeouts, bad. 10 hits, 6 earned runs. He might get to pitch again if the Astros don't end up running away with the series. But that's what I normally find is the case in baseball. I think more often than not, your superstars are going to let you down than your average Joes because you don't really... The ball isn't in their court. So, like, William Carvalho, isn't going to make a bunch of runs into the box and have scoring opportunities. He's not going to be, he's not going to be the number 10 that's, attempting assists up and down. With baseball, It's kind of an equal opportunity situation, but if guys struggle once or twice, it's kind of over.
But let's go back to your example with Bo Bichette week, right? It wasn't. Was it the Joes that let you down, or was it the top end? Because my assumption and why you didn't get close to the podium is because if I remember the lineup, you still had like really good scores across the lineup. But I think it was like you said, Mookie Betts or somebody else had one of the insane weeks. And I think that's where I'm kind of going with the argument is Joe can have a random insane game, but when we level it out, the guys that are elite because their upside is that much higher than every Joe.
My worst players the Bo Bichette week were Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Nolan Arenado.
That's pretty awesome. Nolan, I'm not nearly as, but I mean, Nolan Arenado is still Nolan Arenado, right? Like,
yes,
Rocky upside guy. Okay,
St. Louis now, but yes. Here you go. The person in 8th, believe it or not, actually, I mean, you even look at this too. Like, these aren't bad scores. The thing I think I learned the most from DFS was you can have the guy that goes off, and that's great. Everyone who doesn't have him is buried, but you still need the second guy and the third guy if you really want to win. So, like, in 18 out of Vladimir Guerrero, you should be able to win with that.
Sure.
But
what was first? Were you on first that week?
Yep. Right.
So Liam Hendricks, average
Yeah,
slow.
-5.
So Mateo, and I don't know who Oviedo is, so oh my
He's
god,
a-
-5.
He's a reliever starter sort of guy.
Okay, so can I just throw this out there with that Sergeant Pepper's lineup though? My argument. Bieber elite, right? Help me here because I'm going to show my baseball not greatness. Liam Hendricks, I'm just guessing Joe, or is he like a
no.
cheat? He's a cheat relief pitcher starter.
He's the second best reliever in baseball.
Okay, so not Joe. Matt Olson, I know for sure is not Joe. Bo, we've been over. Eloy Jimenez, when I exited DFS, was becoming a really, really good player.
He's a weird one. He underperformed.
Closer to
this year.
Joe, though, maybe. Closer to Joe, maybe.
He's been a Joe.
Okay, let's just call him Joe then. We got one Joe. Jorge Mateo, Joe is in his name.
Yes, that's about as Joe as you can get.
As about as Joe as you can get. I have one, so I know that you...
He's a 9-hitter, so he's a Joe.
Yes. And then, obviously, another Joe. Man, this guy was... We did not plan this. Another Joe. Look at that. Joe Han. Johan, I know.
Johan Oviedo Joe.
I just got to highlight the fact that there's Joe in both the last two names. But my biggest concern anytime I ever run that type of lineup out is my first 5 guys were all elite players, and then I just toss in my random crap at the end. Can you imagine that guy? I don't know what he won, but the tilt if he lost first by 2 points because he played a -5 random average guy at that flexed extra space. That'd be crazy.
Say that again?
I said my biggest concern, in Sorare, is exactly what I just saw there, and it worked out for him. But he, instead of increasing for the week, he put 2 random guys at the back end that did nothing. And let's say that he missed the podium. Let's say that first, second, and third are all within 3 points, and that -5 took him to 4th.
Yeah.
It'd be brutal. Now, it worked out.
Absolutely.
Right. Revisionist history says it was fine.
Greg, who you're never going to find a Joe in his lineups, even though I think I looked at one of his lineups on one of my shows and said that someone was. But, -4 on Manny Machado. Yeah,
but
he has a...
But who? I guess this is where...
All he has to do is put up a 5, and he wins.
Right. But here's, I guess, where my thought would be, too. Isn't it much easier to accept 5 or 4 from Manny Machado than it is and lose first place because of Manny Machado letting you down versus taking -5 from Jorge, whatever his name was, and losing because of that, right? From just a pure process standpoint.
Sure. I guess. You're more expecting it. You're more expecting it one way. I don't know. I
just go it's like, of course, the one guy that doesn't match the rest of the lineup would let me down. How can I have this elite lineup and then toss this random guy at the back end? And, reality in Sorare is that it happens because it's finances and you don't have the ETH balance or you don't have whatever. But that's, again, my biggest fear and where I kind of was going with the topic is, we're going to get further and further away that, you've got to start building these rewards up to move off your Joes. And I think that if you just are content with them, you're not going to get the upside that you want.
I think that's absolutely the case. I mean, I played Vladimir Guerrero Jr. there because he could put up an 18 in one swing, but he could put up a 50 in 3 swings, whereas Jorge Mateo, Like, please hit a single and
50,
please steal a base.
50 swings. Well,
Give me 7. Yeah.
I still remember that first game week. Okay, it was so because it was like the best I've ever done. So MLB, they tried, but I think I got like 65 from Stephen Kwan, your boy, and I'm like, dude, this guy is amazing, and you're like, temper your expectations. He's really fun. He's gonna slap some singles for you, but you got like 2 homers out of him in a week.
Yeah, right.
It's not going to happen very often.
I don't know that he hit another homer until he did against the Yankees the other night.
Right. So, but I mean, again, it's back to like in baseball and in football. It's obviously a lot easier to project these elite matchup. Guy, like you said, is a number 10. He's going to get 22 crosses into the box. 10 of them are going to hit his own guys' heads. He's going to bang out 80 with or without an assist or goal. It's a lot harder in baseball, as you said, but it's also easier to say more often than not, Manny Machado and Vlad Guerrero are going to outscore Jorge, whatever his name was. Right? I'm giving a week. Well, no, but there was the other, what was the other guy? Who was his -5? Jorge something, or was it
Johan Oviedo.
Or Jose? Oh, right.
Johan.
I'm latching onto these Joes. Out. I mean, you get my point, though, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think you can expect to win rewards with your Johan Oviedo and Jorge Mateo. Like, you can expect to sneak into tier 2 or tier 3 when you have guys who have big weeks, but at that point, you're kind of needing the supplemental points, and that's kind of the difference between the Joes and the Vlad Guerreros of the world are, one, the big upside weeks. Like, you have to consider whether or not a guy is the type of guy who's going to give you a 123 or whatever it was that Bo had, or if they're guys like, say, Jose Ramirez, who's I think he ended up like the 6th point getter
elite
all year.
Elite.
Yeah. But what he's going to do is he's just going to constantly churn and hit a couple of homers and get you more 60s, 70s over the course of a season. Whereas the Joes, you're hoping.
Who's a good example in baseball? And the name that came to my mind, and I don't know if it works anymore, is Joey Gallo. But who's the example in baseball that a guy that's not going to cost you a ton, but his floor game week is -5, and his ceiling game week is 100? Is it Joey Gallo, or is he expensive?
He's not expensive.
Okay.
He was that guy. He's just not starting as much.
So it's a
that's the type of guy.
Is there
Kyle
another one
Schwarber.
that comes to mind? Short. Well, he's hit 46 homers and he's expensive. So that's
he's really not.
Going.
He's really not expensive. It's weird.
Hence why you gave him away as a reward. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I could have gone out and bought another one. And I've thought about it.
So maybe that's a good example. I guess where I want to going with this is, I think there's been this really long expectation in Sorare that you can buy these guys with floors. You can buy these center mids. I'm sorry, I'm going to football, but you can buy these center mids and center backs that never take a shot, but they're really good at getting 50, 55. And it works, and you can get your threshold. But then you're just like, oh, man, these guys had good games, and I didn't get into the rewards. Oh, the game is broken. And I guess where I was wanting to try to kind of, as we're getting closer to the end, conclude this topic is the game's not broken. That needs to be the expectation, is that if you don't have any upside, how are you expecting to win in a game with thousands of lineups if you don't set yourself up for upside?
I think that makes more sense. I think, I don't know, it's such a hard thing for me because being pay to win, I don't think is good for the platform overall, and that's kind of
It's
where
good for the profit and loss sheet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But not retaining users is not so good for that. But again, you can have thousands of people who are spending, $400 on the platform, and it doesn't make up for a couple of whales who go in and splash all of that. So I understand it, but that's why I like baseball, and that's why I'll continue to reinvest in baseball until NBA gives me a reason. After this latest goalie catastrophe, I'm ready to just sell all of my football cards, honestly.
I'm out.
Which I kind of already have started that, but
you're like, I got the stink. You got the stink on you.
Just as I thought I was going to wade back into the waters, I buy this guy who has not. He started the last 15 at least, if not the last 40, and then all of a sudden, the news wasn't even out. The news wasn't even out when I bought him. It happened this morning. That they now
should
say
have said that to you just before we record. I should not have said that to you just before we record.
Fine, I would have probably been over it or whatever. I'm actually probably just going to start him. Like I don't know that I plan on buying another goalkeeper at this point.
I might just buy one for you, to be honest with you, just to give it a shot. Because the rest of your lineup's okay. But in the guys' defense, actually, this is not like in the guys' defense, but just in the manager's defense. I mean, you bought an under 40 goalkeeper for specialist. Like I was joking with you beforehand. Under 40 or under 40 for a reason.
Yeah.
It means they had some really bad games.
He put up a nice 6 last weekend. So
it was like, so I had this is where we're detouring because his name isn't Joe, but I had a Remco Pasveer rare goalie that he's Ajax's goalie. Okay, and he played during the international break. Started both games for Netherlands, and I'm just like, oh crap! Like and he had 2 shutouts for Netherlands. I'm like, and they had already had like a goalkeeper controversy. Mm-hmm. Like, oh man, he might be the World Cup starter, and he's Ajax's starter. Like, this will be great. And his scores, the Sorare stink. Since I got him, and I have since panicked, traded him, paid a premium to get off of him out of fear. Okay, But have you seen what Ajax has done the last 4?
I've seen them get wrecked by Napoli a couple times.
Okay, well, that's 2 of them. But here's his scores the last 4, okay? So actually, it's better to say, before I got him, here's your scores. 83, 66, 71, 62, 66, 50, 64, 65, 82. I buy. And 36. That was the week I got 5th in Global All-Star 3. Mm-hmm. And obviously, if he doesn't concede, it's a podium.
Yeah.
13.9, 24.8, 7.3. And in the 2 of those 3 games, error led to goal. And he's 39. And I'm like, F this. I'm so far out. Like, this the downside to this is going to 0. Like, if he loses this job, then I have a 39-year-old backup. That I paid 0.9 each for.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I don't think that can happen in baseball. By the way.
Well, hold on, but a starting pitcher gets bumped out of the rotation.
Yeah, but he's still...
But Justin Verlander doesn't get bumped, I think is your point.
Right. The only thing is when... By the way, you know how I talked about how I just unblocked a bunch of people?
They got reblocked?
I blocked someone again this morning. I got a trade offer. Noah Syndergaard actually pitched in the postseason for the Phillies last night, and someone offered me Stephen Vogt for him, who Stephen Vogt
where's
announced.
Your romanticism?
Yeah, right. He announced he's retiring, and like you're gonna try. Like, how dumb do you think I am? But like, to kick rocks, like you're straight up an asshole. Like that's an asshole move, and I hope everybody blocks you. As a matter of fact, here I'm not worried about being petty here.
It's fine.
Offers received.
All 10 of our listeners are petty. It's fine.
Oh, it doesn't show up anymore. It's something like My Cards, and there's like a happy face and a rainbow in their username. You're an asshole.
That's classic. That's classic.
Get off the platform, you absolute loser. Anyway, what was the point?
Who came out for violence? I love it. We're going for violence on happy faces and rainbows.
I can't get a retired player trade request and also lose my goalkeeper again without.
Not today. Not
No,
today.
I'm choosing violence all the way.
No, so I think as we're winding down, I think the topic, I think we covered it enough, and I don't think I think the funniest thing about the average Joe conversation is that I think it boils down to managing expectations. If you're running out Joes, it's understanding that you're looking for a random spike week. You're not looking for like a consistent run. Going back to the Tuggy Sean bet, like why was Sean like do what he do? We both know Sean very well, a PSU fan. One of the sharpest planning ahead minds you'll ever get. And he's just like, I'm going to play my odds. I'm not giving Tuggy the entire season with William Carvalho to find his 1 to 2 spikes. I'm giving him a concise time period that I'm just proving my point that you've already expended your luck over the last few weeks before you got him, right? He already kind of spent out, because I think the whole point was, oh, this guy's coming to his own. Sean's like, a 30-year-old midfielder is not finding a new level at this point. He is who he is, right? He's what his L40 says more than his L5. And I think that was, Sean's point with the bet, and I'll take my chances and I'll take my odds that him pulling together Carvalho anchoring a lineup that's going to get in the rewards in this short amount of time, more likely than not happening.
Do you think there is any amount of validity to like, oh, this guy got a new role within the team, even a 30-year-old midfielder?
Completely different story. Like all of a sudden, guy goes from no sets to complete monopoly set pieces. Mm-hmm. And in the football world, completely different. Just like you, Joe Schmo. God, the Joe count in this episode is out of control. But I didn't even mean it when I said Joe Schmo. I wasn't even going that way. But random middle reliever in baseball, all of a sudden, and I feel like we've had these. I feel like I'm going to go back to my head, but like I remember at the beginning of his career, Robbie Ray stunk. And then I'm looking
at timing.
I know, no, but I mean, he won a Cy Young. Last year or the year before?
Last year.
Who was a knuckleballer for the Mets ended up trading for him, gave up the world for him. They gave him no Senator. Who's R.A. Dickey?
R.A. Dickey, yeah.
R.A. Dickey. I remember him in Texas. Maybe that should have made sense, right? Don't put a knuckleballer in Texas. Kind of makes sense. There was no analytics in that front office at that time, Alex.
That sounds like a country song.
Right. But, right, all of a sudden he gets traded to Toronto. Mm-hmm. I think there was some other stuff I remember, but becomes a Cy Young Award winner at, 37, 38?
Yeah, it might have been.
So let's just say, and I think R.A. Dickey, maybe this is the R.A. Dickey show now. But if I remember right, there were some times with the Rangers, R.A. Dickey was a reliever.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
But now all of a sudden, so let's take that example. R.A. Dickey is a reliever. Silver emits his card during the full season for the Rangers when he's a reliever. And now all of a sudden he gets traded to Toronto, and sorry for the kids screaming, holy cow. And now all of a sudden he becomes a Cy Young Award winning starting pitcher. I mean, I'm assuming that card goes from, a just bottom basement type of card to Spencer Strider level.
Yeah, we haven't really seen that yet. We've seen people...
But it happens.
Yeah, and it will. It'll continue to happen. There are guys who are relievers currently that will end up as starters. That's why I have my million Matt Brash cards. And I don't know.
You're trying to project it.
Yes.
And when the reality is, we know, yes, you can project it, but there's just going to be some variance because nobody saw R.A. Dickey happening.
Right. And
I guess the Blue Jays did.
Yeah, that's true. Some people are going to luck into it, though, and that's nice.
Absolutely. So you were asking, though, about the role change. I think that's the baseball equivalent of that. Or the football equivalent is set pieces, or a backup goalkeeper becomes banged-on starter.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that.
I'm sorry.
Unless you have the backup, in which case, great. I hear Inter Milan has this guy named Samir Handanovic. I think he's an up-and-comer that he... He should
what
probably
was it
be
on
the
the
starter.
Andrews? What was it on the Andrews like a year ago with Sean and Andrew? It was the PSU pump of the week. It's just the
Absolutely.
the
It's he's I'm looking at his page. It says he's 29 years old. He's definitely not 39. He's 29 years old, and I think this could be a breakout season for him.
the Hooper pump of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Is the guy that you need to sell immediately. I'm sorry.
No, dude. I'm going to the grave with him. My Smear Handanovic is definitely going to be a
You're
collectible
just gonna
item.
keep you're just
As
gonna
with
keep
my
running him out.
as with my Eric Olschlegel or whatever. Oh, I actually got his name right.
So this is probably the perfect wrap, or it's just the whole worst wrap of the show ever. But
Don't
versus the
buy
goal to
don't buy
the five
average
players
Joe's
that are
keeper.
playing.
Yeah.
Right. Well, no, so really to go full circle with the guy that asked me the question, right? I think the whole idea is you can play your Joes, but you can't find the middling guy that's never going to spike. Sorry, Tuggy, but you can't win with the Carvalhos are going to have less and less validity or utility as more and more cards come to the platform. You need to look for the guys that get you the spike. You need to look for did we decide who's the best Joey Gallo? Did we decide there was we need to look for the Kyle Schwarber.
Yes.
You need
I
to
think
look
Gallo's
for
still
the.
perfectly viable too.
By the way, you're gonna love this one from back to your F days. DFS. Oh my goodness, I'm losing it. You need to look for the Thomas Susheks, right? The guy that leads defensive midfielders and runs into the box, right? I remember that was one of your Tilt City things.
Wow.
I like him
I'm
because
glad
of
you
those,
retained
right?
that. That's pretty cool.
Dude, I have a weird mind. I have a very, very, very weird mind. I will remember that stat to the grave, Alex.
Yeah,
Horrible.
he and Gundogan.
Right. But but what was the purpose of that, right? It's this number 6 guy that, yeah, he's just going to do a lot of defensive work, but he also loves to get in the box and loves to get in the headers. And by the way, when the defense matches with the 4 times a year that he scores a goal, bingo.
Yep.
So I think that's just where we need to go. And then I'm going to take that to NBA. We have 5 minutes left. I'm going to take that to NBA. I think the whole – I'm going to start you off with the question, Hoop, and then we'll go with the answer. Who do we got on there, by the way? Oh, NBA Jam. Oh, I love it.
That's the ultimate.
Oh, God.
That's the ultimate pairing.
Team. Ultimate team. I mean,
Has-
Gary Payton
has-
could have some utility. Gary
has to
Payton
be.
Jr. could have some utility this year.
Tournament edition.
Gonna start
Yeah. Which is Sean Kemp's
Let's see how much. Let's see how much. Oh God. Oh, I'm gonna stay away from that topic. Depending on the amount of that you get for blocks and steals, though, Gary Payton Jr. could be pretty valuable. But what if, Hoop, the game NBA is exactly what you think it should be, and it's just all-star?
That's not what I think it should be.
Sorry. Well,
What I'm expecting it to be at first, it would be All-Star. What about it? What if?
yeah. I mean, I know everybody's saying that it's going to be the end of everything, but what if it's just the reality is I just have to gauge my expectation that for first place, if I don't have Giannis, LeBron, Steph Curry,
Luka Embiid.
Look, there you go. There's a good one. I was trying to fill positions. I think you did it perfectly.
Yeah. We don't
That
have
I'm
a
not gonna
shooting
win
guard, but
first.
that's okay.
That I'm not going to win first is is that the end of the world? Do I have to win first?
If that is the case, I will be putting the rest of my Ethereum into baseball cards for next week or for next year.
Which I think there will be a lot of people that'll do that, but I'm a sucker, and I'm just going to go. Okay, well, I'm going to try to chase down. I'm going to try to build my. I mean, I have to have some Sexton. Colin Sexton. I'm going to take my Sexton, my Paulo Banchero. I'm going to take my Magic stack. Okay, I'm going to take my Orlando Magic stack and grind out some T2s so that I can get to that spot. I mean, that's okay, too.
It's perfectly
I'm gonna
okay. I
find
ain't
Joe.
doing it.
I'm gonna nail my Christian Wood type of play that Nobody realized, or you know what's going to be fun with the NBA? I know we're getting short in time. You know what's going to be really fun with the NBA? Tanking is starting in January. Tanking might start next week, Hoop.
Yeah,
I think if Utah wins the game, they're going to be upset.
Did you see Greg Popovich? What he said in there?
What did he say? I love it.
He was at media day, and he goes, "I probably shouldn't say this," and he leans into the mic. He's like, "I wouldn't go bet on this team to win the NBA championship."
I mean, thank you, Pop, for announcing the obvious. I hope that everybody just enjoyed it. And there wasn't actually people that are like, "This is not okay for him to say." Is he purposely thinking?
I'm sure there's people who definitely thought that and said it, but
I loved the meme, or was it a meme GIF? I don't know what to call them anymore. But they had the Oklahoma City. Somebody overlaid. It was like the New York Jets Hard Knocks episode where they cut a guy, but instead of like telling him to cut a guy, they just changed out the key stuff. So he puts his key in, and the door won't open. And they were like Oklahoma City to Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Just go home. We don't want you to accidentally make us win a game.
Yeah, right.
Like you're actually too good for this team.
Don't they have 9,000 draft picks?
Well, that's the whole point, right? Can you get enough to? Why am I blinking on the alien's name right now?
Victor
Wembanyama? Wembanyama. Oh my God. Well, and then they say, the number 2 pick is like, he would have been a once-in-a-decade player too. So you have once-in-a-century player and a once-in-a-decade player in this next draft.
I'm not saying that if I had the number one, I'm not saying if I had the number 1 pick, I wouldn't take Wembanyama. Like, if you don't take him, they're going to...
Oh, Mr. Analytics. Here we go.
No, it's not even analytics. It's the fact that he's 7'4" and he could have a 2-game career and never play again.
But he's shown, like, you watched, right? He's not Chet. He's not.
That's fine. He's still going to get bodied.
Beat.
What's he going to do? Avoid contact for every year?
Yeah, just going to shoot 30-footers and block shots.
Then what's the point of having a 7'4" guy?
Block shots. Wreck the lane.
He's gonna get bodied though. You think Embiid isn't gonna back him down all the way and then he can just throw an elbow and break him in half?
Honestly, if I'm a coach and I'm protecting that asset, he's not guarding Joel Embiid in his first season. He's gonna be like Boston Celtics, Robert Williams role, where I go put my best defender, even if he's undersized, on Embiid. I say, here, you can go take corner sitter and just roam the lane and cause havoc.
I don't know. I'm worried. I don't know. I don't even want to say it. I'm worried he could develop like legitimate health problems. Like that's
could.
That's
and you
the
take the risk every time. And you take the risk every time.
Absolutely. You have to take the risk because you lose your job otherwise. But I would almost, if I got the second pick, I'd be like, all right.
Oh, no, fine. It's okay. Again, a once-in-a-decade player is a great consolation prize. But I think the Magic, not to show my Magic fandom, but I think the Magic just nailed it this year in terms of they go, okay, the difference, Chet Holmgren is probably the best chance of being an absolute unicorn, freak of nature. Like, what is this type of thing? Like a better version of Porzingis, like what we've always wanted Porzingis to be. But all of a sudden
he is Porzingis.
Right. Well, he's already showing the foot issues and all that. So he's already showing the problem. But the Magic are like, okay, we could do that. Or we could take 5%, 10% reduction in ceiling. But no, we have a guy that's NBA body, NBA skill set already prepared. And we'll just take Paolo. And we don't have to worry about the chances. We already have Jonathan Isaac stashed for the last 2 years of a guy that doesn't fit into his body. Like, we don't need to do this again.
Absolutely.
Oh my God! Can we just start NBA already? I'm too ready to, even if, and I hope that it's just all underdog and stuff for you that you're all in with me.
Yeah, all of a sudden you're going to be talking to me about it and I'll be like, I don't know, I watched the Cavs last night.
Oh, I'm dragging you on. I'm dragging you on anyways. Even if it's just we just got to talk 50 minutes on Colin Sexton's ascension to stardom. You don't understand it. You don't understand how many shots we're gonna let him take, dude.
Oh no, I get
Because
it.
they know it's gonna lead to losses. It's gonna be Colin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson fighting over the
I was
ball,
going to say
and Cavs fans are
Jordan
just gonna
Clarkson's
be
going to
so
pull the
happy.
Draymond.
Oh my! On
Clarkson's
the
going to
court.
pull the Draymond and throw hands. Yeah, it's like give me
Oh
the
God, I
ball.
can't wait. God, Utah actually might be
Cavs
fun for
legends.
that reason. I know. What's the chances
Yeah.
that both of those guys were Cavs players? Oh, it's so good.
At this point,
All
the
right.
way they've cycled through players, yeah,
All right, we're off the
we're
rails.
going to
Jordan
go down a
Clarkson
rabbit
only
hole.
had Jo in his name. We're two. Oh, I can't wait for NBA. So just if anybody doesn't know, there'll be a ton of NBA action over here at Sorare First Pitch. Whether Hoop is fully invested or not, we're still going to get his basketball brain involved here, and the kids are officially off the rails too. So we're going to end this now. Hoop, it was fun, man. Appreciate you, and make sure a quick Sorare First Pitch plug.
Yeah, head over to the Patreon. We're gonna have
Yeah.
some fun NBA stuff.
And big guest next week.
Yeah, 21st. COO
21st
himself.
coming up. Yep. So we're pumped for that. So make sure you are watching the feed. Like, subscribe on YouTube. Check and make sure you're subscribed to the pod feeds. You won't want to miss that episode, nor all the Silver First Pitch Hooper episodes. And then I will start banging out a ton of NBA stuff. And if I can ever get time for football, get some stuff on here for that too. All right.
Sure.
Take it easy, man.
Yeah.